Okay, a couple days ago, I was doing my fitness thing. I felt okay. I knew mentally I put myself in kind of a risky position. Not real happy about that, but like, okay, I'm feeling all right. I think I dodged the worst of it. Then a couple hours later, as the night goes on and I start to cool down, you can start to feel that sort of sense of unease, feeling a little bit compromised, things maybe just a little pokey sensations, just that unsettled, like something's different. And so for the next 24 hours, I was really acutely aware of everything I was doing, from basically my hips to my mid rib cage, because I want to make sure that I didn't succumb to any of the weird little things, the things I'm about to discuss, that pop, then jack you up. So we're going to look at those things and then how to avoid them. So I'm going to use an analogy to kind of set the whole tone for this thing, because all these positions, you wouldn't actually suffer if your back was healthy and intact, you didn't have anything going on. This is once you've got that risky intervention type thing where things start to break down a little bit. So to illustrate the point, a stick. So you can call this whatever joint you want, but for right now, we're gonna call this your low back. So my low back is, it's got some pliability, but generally it's pretty stiff. It's what we want. It supports basically the connection between our upper and lower body. It's got some pliability, but it shouldn't go very far, right? Whereas you get to the end, this is kind of up near our neck, right? This is the more flexible stuff. My neck is supposed to do all this. Here's my neck. Now, if I do something that's maybe aggressive or too much outside load, or I'm playing sport for too long, or whatever it is, I get a little bit of, got a little pop. It's not broken yet, just a little bit of pop. It's compromised, okay? The tissue, I might have some like tiny little damage, tear kind of things going on, but it's not busted yet. So you're going along your merry way. Everything still looks fine until you get into some position. You're not really thinking about it. It's a common everyday position, but the positions are sort of acutely aggressive and sneaky in their own right. Again, if you're healthy, they're fine. But if you've got a compromised situation, this is where things can kind of explode, and you hear it all the time. And then that's the thing that had me lying on the floor for 5 minutes or whatever. And then what happens is snap. We don't want to go there. Normally, the thing I value the most is good positions, because the thing I try and strive for is being a great example, but then also I'm not super interested in hurting myself. But I am still a stupid, reckless human being, and I have an ego, and occasionally that gets the best of me. And it's usually actually pretty rare, I find, that in that moment you have some like crippling thing that happens to you. So of course it happens, but it seems it's piling those incidents on top of each other, and then something silly and stupid becomes literally the straw that broke the camel's back, and you get that horrible, sidelines you for days and weeks and months or whatever it is. All right, so let's look at some footage. Positions that sneaky get you when you're in this compromised state. So I'm in my car, and you can see I'm twisting and reaching. No good, don't want to do this. But if I'm like in traffic or something and I've got my seatbelt on, my hips are locked into place and my low back is reaching and twisting at the same time, that's torque I don't want to get on my low back, right? And so if you've ever been in a situation where you reach and then you're like, oh, you get that little zinger, not what you want to do. What would be a better thing to do? Just wait. Get out of your car later. I'm driving and I feel like I need something right now and I get impatient. It's the same similar thing to like texting and driving. It's like focus on driving, get to where you need to go, then you can grab the thing. Or pull over. Are you gonna die if you do this? No, but the idea is if you're in a compromised situation, what are the sneaky things that kind of jump in and get you? We don't want to do that stuff. Next one, I'm chilling on the couch, I'm hanging out. Nothing wrong with this. Watching a little TV. But you can see that generally the line of my body it's not tense, right? I'm not expecting you to have like a tight midsection on the couch or anything like that, but it's not tense. So I'm kind of in a slack position. If I get up off the couch, lazily kind of just, let's go back to the specific frame right there. I've got this opportunity for my spine to go into flexion, using my momentum to kind of shoot myself off the couch. I got a little deep into the couch, so I have to kind of like shimmy my way around. And there's probably like 4 opportunities where my back is kind of like popping up and down, right? And then I get off the couch. If I have a compromised situation and a day or two ago I did something and I'm like, oh, I'm not feeling it. This right here is an opportunity for something to go wrong, something to zing and feel even worse. So what would be a better way to go about doing it? Again, it seems something that a young, healthy person shouldn't have to do. But again, we're trying to identify those sneaky things that come out and get you. So what do I do here? I shimmy myself to the edge of the couch. I'm way more neutral and upright. And then from there, I quite literally just stand up. So it's no different than just like doing a squat. Super duper safe. Next. Oh boy. Look at that terribleness. I'm bent across the back, ass is high, my shoulders are down, and I'm just rifling through these books. It's no big deal, they're just books. I'm not even lifting anything, I'm just kind of bending over, right? But here's the thing, you stay here for a couple minutes, you're rifling through stuff, you're trying to find something, and then the dastardly twist and reach rears its ugly head once again. So let's go back, let's check that out, like a little quick replay. So I'm down, I'm in this hip high flexed position. So my low back has got that very slight bow to it, which inherently by itself is not the end of the world. It's not that big of a deal. But then I add some rotation to it. Ooh! And now I've got this open, distended side across, in this case, my left side. And that's where I get, it could be either side. I could either open or pinch. It can go either way. Neither side is like better or worse. You get pinch where you get pinch. I reach for a thing, I set it off to the side, and I'm hanging out. I've got no tension. I'm hanging out on all the connective tissue, and it's just holding on for dear life. And if I'm already compromised, that's where I get that. I don't want that. So what would be a better way to go about doing this? Just hunker down to a knee. Nothing wrong with that. This is not like OSHA. I'm not coming in and like policing your positions, but I'm saying, in the last couple days, you had something kind of funky sneak in. How can you protect yourself to make sure it doesn't get worse? So you can see you've got a much better spinal position. But I posted up on my knee. So literally like my leg and my hip is taking the force. And then from there, everything's more neutral. Yeah, I still got to kind of get down and look at stuff. And then when I reach for that cat, I just swivel, right? So now I'm using my legs, I'm using my upper body. Things are making a lot more sense than just kind of like folding over. And we do that all the time. I do it all the time. Everyone does it all the time. But it's that one time. Maybe it's after that hard day of playing basketball, or maybe it's after that hard day of, deadlifting or whatever it is. Oh boy, tying the shoes. The silent killer. You know how many stories I've heard of people putting on and off their shoes and something weird pops? They do whatever they're doing, and then it's the shoes and the socks that mess them up. Okay, so I've got this generalized bowing here, and you can see this is the worst of it. This is the culprit. When my hips are tucked underneath and I'm reaching forward with my shoulders in order to get forward to my shoes, I'm exposed. That's what gets me. This little tiny reachy position here. The sneaky thing is we tie our shoes, put our shoes on and off every day, all day. Never bothers us, except that one time. So I'm putting on my shoes and I'm kind of hanging out here, and what it might be is when I do some sort of like weird twisty thing to get my shoe on or off, or I make that reach to get my foot in there. So what can you do instead? Just post your foot up on a bench or something, right? So now my posting leg is taking most of the force as opposed to my low back bowing out. My glutes, they're there. They're basically this linchpin in between my low back and all the reaching stuff that I'm doing. And yes, I am still in this hip tucked position, but my left leg here is posting up, taking a lot of that force, right? And now I'm a lot more upright. I'm not in that similar, you can see the general angle, right, of my whole body position. I'm like in a C. Now I'm more like, I still have to do something to reach my feet, but it's kind of like, because I've got this stock here holding me up, I'm just in a much better spot. Plus, allows me to just be more neutral, clean angles all around. Can't tell you how many times I've heard people messing up their back, but it's the shoe tying or the socks that end up being the. It's crazy. So I make a video like this. What is the thing that we're not talking about enough? I almost kind of like hate talking about weight loss because just everyone and their mom is talking about weight loss, and there's a bazillion good strategies, and there's hardly anything new I could add to the discussion. But in an environment where truly 98% of the people are dealing with these daily nagging weird things, it seems hyper valuable to get in and talk about some foundational stuff that can unlock some doors to a higher quality of life. These sound like old people problems, things that happen to your grandparents or your aging parents or whatever it is. It doesn't sound like stuff that happens to people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s, but they do at an alarming rate. I think because we have a disproportionate amount of cockiness, like, oh, we're young and we're fine. And then also aggressiveness in the things that we do. So we continue to play sports and go to the gym and all that kind of stuff. And so that creates somewhat of this perfect storm of opportunity to let a stupid thing slip in and ruin what you've got going on. This isn't about like, oh, you got to be super cautious and never step outside. This is sort of having that self-awareness discussion to know when your body is good and resilient and springy and can, do stuff, and when it's best to kind of peel back and wait things out and see like, hey, is my shoulder going to react poorly to that thing that just happened? My hope is that you can use a video like this to have one more tool in your toolkit to be successful this week, this month, this year, 10 years from now, and get everything you want in terms of like fitness and health and wellness. Watch out for these sneaky little back pain positions. So thanks for watching. Keep your back safe.